morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi everybody, my name is Heatherina and this is my channel. So I am here to talk about kids that kill or could potentially kill that I lived with for over 11 years span. Let's see here, I am talking about my stepkids that used to live with me. They no longer live with me. And so me and my family are in the process of healing. So we're healing. So I usually do my makeup just because I can't sit in front of a camera and just talk to this little lens right there. I just feel so much better when I'm doing something. And so here we go. So when we left off yesterday, ooh buddy. So like I had said, we had came across a video. I'm guessing that the video no longer exists as it was bullshit lies. But there were friends of my stepson who have came to me last night and left some interesting messages for me. And whoever you are, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But please also know that I literally do not give a crap what they say, what they do. Anymore, but I guess my stepkid, the boy, watches my videos and my TikToks, and he is on this track that he is going to sue me and have me arrested and thrown into the depths of hell. If he is watching this video, which I do not care if him or his kinfolk watch any of my videos. They did not have to live my life. They chose to live their life the way that they wanted to live. I chose to live my life the way I wanted to live. They want to say, the kids don't live with you no more, therefore, you know, everything is done and everything is quiet. But unfortunately, we still have to heal. And this is the way I choose to heal. My counselor stands behind that. My family and my friends stand behind me, and all of you beautiful people stand behind me. So honestly, it is what it is. I am allowed to talk about my life and my children's life. Of course, I have my children's permission. My youngest, she doesn't really care either or. But for the most part, I am able to talk about my life and the things that happened to me. There is no law against that. Just like he was able to go on social media and talk about his life, whether it was true or not, he still chose to do it. So I guess there was some kind of uproar. I'm not really sure where it happened at or what happened. But I did get up and I did block as many people as I can, because I just don't wish to be part of their mental health issues anymore. I feel like that part's very unhealthy. So, but I guess wherever they were talking, excuse me, they were talking about, I guess a lot of nasty stuff about me and my children. Even though we aren't attacking them now, we're just talking about our story, and we are healing ourselves and getting the story that we didn't get to tell. We are getting it out, because we were always muted, and it was always, oh, poor kids, oh, poor kids, oh, poor kids. Not, oh, poor family that's living through complete hell. It was just always about them. So now that they are gone, I waited. I don't have them in my house. I waited to be able to talk about my life. I had that much respect. But I guess in this video, when he was talking on the one that I seen, you know, about being choked and being stabbed and all of this stuff that he supposedly went through, I guess it was kind of a spin-off last night in his discussion or whatever it is that he was doing. He proceeded to say something that he was going to take all of us down into the depths of hell or whatever. And so people felt that it was important to come and tell me for my safety. We do all have mutual friends still. Don't look at my eyebrows. They're like, whoa. But we do all have mutual friends still. I'm not sure how we have mutual friends, because anybody who would have anything in common with that family would have zero in common with me. Honestly, like, there is no similarities in any sense. So, but we do. And they feel like they needed to get into the middle of it. I have just informed them that for our healing's sake, to stay out of it. And if they choose to get in it, to not bring us into it. Like, to not tell us about it, and to just to kind of leave us alone. So that did go down yesterday at some point. I don't feel like it really affected me, or that it's affecting me, which is interesting, as I really don't care. I really don't care what their views are. I know some of the things that they had wrote to me was they were trying to damage or trying to talk about my career. And I find it like very interesting and funny. Nobody cares what you think. Not in this house. Nobody cares what you guys think about what I have did or what I haven't did. Nobody cares. We're okay over on this side. We are working on us, and we will someday be 1000%. But for now, I will discuss what I intended on discussing today. I feel like I am doing a little better today. I do go see my counselor this evening. He has really been a rock star in my life right now. He really supports and tells me. He is like the first person that would just be like, no, don't do that. Yes, do this. Not in that tone, of course. Yes, I have my Pepsi. Not in that tone, but he is a very nice guy, and he's very supportive. I do know that he was affiliated with the other side of the family at one time in some way, shape, or form. I don't think that he was the same counselor, or maybe he was. I don't really know. But I know he warned me of that in the beginning in some sort. So I walked into that with eyes wide open. So today everybody keeps asking me about the little girl, who is not a little girl anymore, just so everybody knows. So when we are talking about things, please understand that these kids are no longer little. She is 16, or getting ready to turn 16. And he is getting ready to turn 18. So no, they are no longer little kids. They can make choices. They can... I lived on my own at 15. So they're able to make choices that, you know, I feel like once you hit 10, you definitely know what right and wrong is. You are able to make conscious decisions about what you are going to do that's right or wrong. And when you choose not to, that doesn't fall onto other people. That falls onto you. I believe that highly. I've worked with kids. I have worked with, I mean, I've worked with kids since I was like 21. Even probably younger. But I'm old and I don't remember everything anymore. From way back and the way back. I do not like this brush. I don't know why I keep picking it up. I need to get it away from me because I don't like it. Anyways, so Everybody has a lot of questions about her, or why I don't talk about her as much. And it's not that she wasn't as bad. It's that my bond with her was just a little bit more connected. And I don't know. I don't have a reason. So anyways, you guys heard Bloody Girl back in the day when we had first gotten them, and her covering herself with blood. She was always quite violent, but she could also be quite sweet. She had a very bad jealousy of my other kids, and I always knew that she had a bad jealousy. She would always tell me that she wished that she had a mom like me, and you know, I always explained to her, you know, I'm a good stepmom and that could be good enough, you know. We discussed that a lot. She was quite jealous, and she would attack my girls quite often. Not only would she attack them, she was quite the bully to my girls. More so to my disabled child. So I have a disabled child that you don't hear a lot about her because my daughter Chloe does not like the camera. You will not see her on TikTok very much. She don't like the camera. Sometimes I can bribe her. She doesn't have social media. In fact, her twin sister just got social media 2 weeks ago, guys. She just got it 2 weeks ago. So I don't allow my kids to do a lot social-wise online. But she just, my daughter, okay, let me kind of take that back. My oldest twin had a YouTube. She used to do little makeup videos and things like that. But she never had like Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat. I would never let my kid have Snapchat anyways. But she doesn't have, she didn't have any of those, and now she finally has her first social media account, and she's pretty excited about that. She had a choice between several of the options, and she chose the one she wanted. I don't really want to talk about it because that family watches all of my stuff, and I don't, Nevaeh does not want to be any part of that family or anything with them. So I'm not going to tell you where, but she is a great kid. But my stepdaughter would attack, bully, manipulate my disabled child when she could get away with it, when she thought she could get away with it. You know, tell her little things when nobody was, you know, listening. You know, if you don't do this for me, I'm gonna hurt you really bad. She used to do that a lot. And you guys got to understand, I am just finding these things out as we heal. So for a very long time, I did not know that there were threats going on with her. She was taking things from my disabled child, like money that she would get for birthdays or Christmas, and she would bully her out of this money. She was taking her food and items from her, you know, like things that you take, say, to your room, or if I sent the kids outside with snacks to go outside and play, she was bullying my daughter into getting her items. That's a lot of stuff that's really hard for me to hear as a mom, because I was doing what I thought diligently I could do to protect my kids. But of course there's always holes and there is moments. So my stepdaughter, like I said, had severe anger issues. She would gouge her face up. She would find push pins, anything sharp she could find to cut on herself when she was mad. We had her, of course, obviously in and out of counseling, and she would tell them she'd never wanted to commit suicide. She just would be so angry. She would do these things because she's seen her mom doing it when she was little. Her mom, I guess, used to cut her thighs. And so it was something that she had seen, and when she had somehow learned from her mom, from whatever, that it was a good way to release anger or whatever. So that was something that she would do. And she did that all the way through. She was on, I hate the angle of this mirror. She was on a lot of meds as well. Everybody always asks, like, if they're on meds, then what was the problem? Okay, so meds take things from 100 to, say, maybe 75. So it gives you just a little bit. It gives you just a little bit of a break, I guess you could say. What is right there? It's irritating me. But it never fully takes it away, even though we wish that it did. It does not. I had explained that she had molested my disabled child as well. So there is things that I have talked about. She stole food. She did not hurt animals. That was the interesting part, was that for a majority of her life here, she did not hurt animals. But there is suspicion, and I can't prove it, and I wish that I could, but I can't. But there is suspicion because the day after, or 2 days after, no, it was the day after, I believe. But I was poisoned, and right after my bird died. Young bird, had like 50 years left of their life, and just fell over dead. No reasons, no nothing, no ailments. Just fell over dead. And as it was explained to me, if the same pills were put into my bird's water, birds don't drink it like we do. It takes them time. And that they believe the same thing happened to my bird. Everybody, this bird was mine only, and everybody knew how much this bird meant to me. And she was so angry. So let me kind of go back a little bit before I really get into that. So she would have, in the beginning, she would be happy to go on visits with her mom, where the boy never wanted to go on visits with bio mom, and he would throw fits so he didn't have to go, you know, with the supervisor. He'd be like, I don't want to be here. I don't want anything to do with her. He would do that quite often, where the girl would always go, you know, and we always encouraged her to be all in or all out. That was always the thing that we said. There's no half-assing, nothing. You're either all in or you're all out. You can't love somebody halfways. You know, if you love her, give her a chance. And if you don't want anything to do with her, then that needs to be told to her. You know, so that she isn't putting all this energy into you when you don't want to be there and you are making the visit horrible. You know, like what mom, if you are trying to get your shit together, who wants to go for a visit and sit there with kids that are like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, I don't like you. Nobody wants to do that. So I told them, like, if you're going to go, because they would tell us that they were just going for the gifts. She buys us these gifts, so we're just going to go and get the gifts, and then we want to leave. And that's what they were doing. They would go, get the gifts, and then they would want to leave. And I told them, that's not fair. Like, that's not fair to her for you guys just to take, you know, her gifts and stuff and just leave. Like, that's not cool. You're either going to be all in, all out. And the little girl, she was going and she was trying and she was putting her best effort into her bio mom and was trying to enjoy visits and stuff. And then it just came to a day where she was like, I don't want to go anymore. Why? You know, why don't you want to go? She's like, because on the visits, she just sits on her cell phone. She doesn't pay any attention to me. You know, I don't feel like I have any connection with her, and I just don't want to be with her. I just don't want to be, excuse me, I just don't want to be there. And so these were things that they would need to tell the supervised visitor, because that wasn't our call to do anything about that. So they would tell the supervised visitor, I don't want to go. I don't want to be here. I don't feel like this is a good visit, and I just don't want to be here. So, you know, eventually the supervised visits stopped too, because the kids just did not want to go and were throwing a fit, and it was whatever. So that was relayed back to the guardian ad litem, who ended up being like, if they don't want to go, they have to tell the supervisor, but then they don't have to do the visit. You know, they have to go in, they have to use their words and tell them that they don't want to go. Fine. So we would show up, and they wouldn't visit her, and we would pretty much leave. So we'd show up just to leave. It was so stupid, honestly. But we did it. We did it often. They wanted us to do it that way just in case the kids changed their mind and would want to visit, and that brush is way too big. The kids would want to visit or change their mind, which it never did. So she kept trying to connect with her mom on the same type of level that I had with my kids. And I kept seeing this, like, you know, she won't do this and you do this. And I had to explain to her all the time that her mom and me are not the same person. And she isn't going to get the same outcomes that she is wanting to get, that my kids get with me. That's just never going to happen, and she needed to kind of just let that go. She needed to love her mom for who she was. And I guess after a while she felt like that was never going to happen, so therefore she was done. And we didn't ever think that my stepdaughter was ever going to be done with that. And that lasted, that done, don't want to do this anymore thing, that lasted all the way up until she found out that she could not get out of the facility, until she pretty much was forced to bond with Biomom so that she could get out of the facility she's in now. Because she has to have somewhere to go. And so therefore she was told, you know, she was talking to my husband and she was telling him, you know, they're saying that I can't get out of here unless I bond with my Biomom. So pretty much I have to fake this so I can get out of here. And it's whatever. You know, I was already done at that point, so it's whatever. I know I say that a lot. Everybody laughs at me because I say whatever. It just means I don't care. I literally don't care about it. But the existence with her was less animal abuse, more human abuse. She was constantly beating or trying to attack my kids all of the time. I had to watch her like a hawk, where the boy was always more scared to attack humans and felt more relief in attacking animals. She was in your face. She didn't like what somebody said to her. Well, she was just going to bully them until they seen it her way. She wanted something, she was going to bully them until she got her way. Now, my girls used to be really quiet. They're still pretty quiet, but very calm little girls. My girls are very calm. They are not they are not aggressive at all. I had to literally start teaching them how to defend themselves because of my stepkids. So everybody, you know, it's funny when people see my TikToks and they see my youngest getting this little mean mug and stuff, and they say she's going to have anger issues. Not even in the slightest bit. I needed to toughen them up a little bit to be able to defend themselves, because no matter how good I tried, there was times that I couldn't see what was going on. If they were outside playing with friends and stuff, and here comes along my stepkids bullying them and stuff, I wanted them to have the strength to be able to come in and tell me so that I could deal. And believe me, I was doing it all the time. But the attacking on my kids was just her main focus. She was so, and still so, jealous of them that every chance she get, she would cut them down. And like, both of the kids on a constant were telling my kids they were fat and they were ugly and they were gonna go to hell. I mean, this was constantly, they were cutting my kids down. And I was having to build my kids up on a constant basis just so they knew that they were great people, and that, you know, the things that they were saying to my kids wasn't remotely true. You know, fill your kids' bucket so full that society can't poke enough holes in it to matter. That is like a theory of mine. So I would build my kids up, and more building them up and telling them they're beautiful and smart and kind and creative, and would make my stepkids even more mad. They wanted them to feel or be as low as them. My daughter Chloe, she, like I told you before, she's autistic. She has a lot of issues, so she can't do a lot of social media. She can't do a lot of TV. It's a stimulator for her. Well, they like to say like she is so abused. They tell people that she is so abused and poor Chloe and stuff. You know, a lot of Chloe's problems right now is because of my stepkids. And we are dealing with that. But towards the end of the little girl being here, she was smashing out windows constantly, breaking everything. So when she would have, like, be punching me in the back, and she punching me in the back of the head and throwing things at me, and where she would start, and she would run to her room, she would destroy everything from point A to point B. Constantly. She gave no mind to anybody's things, including her own. My stepkids used to cry and whine and complain to everybody that they didn't have as good a stuff as my kids did. You destroyed your stuff. What do you want me to do to keep replacing all of the things you keep destroying? I'm not rich. I live a very moderate life, middle class, work my butt off. I can't afford to just keep replacing everything you want to destroy for you to turn around and tell like everybody that you're so abused because you don't have half the stuff my kids have. My kids don't destroy stuff. And we pay very well for good grades in my house. Very well. Like, my daughter has gotten a dirt bike and vanity and, you know, Xboxes or whatever else. I pay very good. You get good grades in school, you work your butt off, and you do what you're supposed to do, you get rewarded for it. Well, that kind of stuff can also be taken, you know, and that's something they couldn't understand. That just because you are given something, that it can't be taken if you destroy somebody else's stuff. If you steal somebody else's stuff and you don't have money to pay that back, you have to give up something of yours to equate what you stole from that person. And they couldn't get that through their head. They were so busy trying to have what everybody else had without doing what everybody else had. And that's where it was very hard for my stepkids, including my stepdaughter, because she wanted, for instance, okay, this is a really good example. I told my kids, my girls, excuse me, told my girls, when they got to be close, okay, I wouldn't let my kids start even dabbling in makeup to a certain age. But when they got close to that age, I said some of the stipulations of wearing makeup is you have to wash your face. You can't just leave that on your face. Like, you have to be able to show that you are responsible and that you can wash your face and take it off. So you have to show me for a month that you can wash your face. I mean, none of us are really great about it, but come on, give an effort for a month. And show me that you can wash your face in the morning and at night and take good care of your skin, because makeup clogs your pores and whatever else. So I told my daughter Chloe, she's not at the right mind to be wearing makeup yet. We're still working on other simple tasks, but I told this to my stepdaughter and to my oldest twin, and I said those are stipulations. Well, my oldest twin did it every single day, twice a day, and she got her first, it was just like this little cheap CoverGirl or whatever palette. I don't know, let me look down here. Well, somewhere in this drawer I still have my stepdaughters, because I bought both of them the sets before I ever waited the month. I had already bought them for them, and I still have my stepdaughters in the drawer. She wouldn't do it. She would get in the shower, she wouldn't use shampoo, she wouldn't use body soap, she wouldn't wash her face, she wouldn't stay clean. Her whole entire face started breaking out. Just from not even wearing makeup, guys. Just like normal hormonal kid stuff. And I was like, no. And she's like, okay, it's been a month. You know, Nevaeh's getting her stuff, so now I want mine. No. That wasn't the deal. Well, that would get turned into, well, you're treating her differently than me. You know, it was always a constant, well, because she got it, therefore I should get it type thing. And it's like, no. There's no favorites. There's no nothing in this house. You are going to earn it just like my daughter, you know, had to earn it. Like, you both are going to earn it the same way. Well, yeah. That never worked out, and the makeup's still in there. So she just was constantly angry, constantly just stupid things, guys. Like, she would put water in my kids' toothpaste, in their shampoo, in their conditioner. She'd put water in it. She just would put freaking water in it. Like, she would, excuse me, she would take things that were my kids' and she would destroy it, but then she'd walk around with hers. And this was all the time. She was always attacking my kids, verbally and physically. But then not only that, she was doing things like devious ways behind their back, you know. And it got old. Well, towards the end, things got pretty bad. So when I had kicked the kids out of my house along with their father, I moved them across the street, okay? Because he still needed help. I just didn't want him in my house anymore. So I kicked him out. And CPS was involved then, and it was pretty much that my stepson could no longer be in my house because now they're saying that he's a danger to my kids and to myself, and he needs to be away from other kids, pretty much. So I moved him. Initially, I just moved my stepson and my husband across the street. So I moved them initially across the street. Well, then my stepdaughter thought that my stepson was getting away with all of this really cool, fun stuff that she wasn't getting. So she wanted to go too, and I was like, okay, bye. Moved her across too, okay? Well, while she was over there, the boy took his anger out on his sister, and he was beating the crap out of her, and he was bullying her, and all this stuff was going on. Well, CPS was involved with my husband and his kids, not with me or my kids across the street, because you know what? We no longer have anything to do with them, so therefore we didn't have to deal with it anymore, thank God. Well, they decided that the kids should go to school. To give my husband a break. He should send them to school, rid his hands of it for the day. and not have to deal with it. And they also were like, when the kids are with Heather, it will give her a break from them. We think this is a great idea. So they sent the kids to school. And when the kids went to school, guys, let's just say rad kids mimic people who they are around, and not in a good way. So every bad kid that's in the school, they took on their persona. So they were now not only being the little shits that they were being here, now they have picked up smoking, doing drugs, stealing. Let's talk about that for a minute. So my stepdaughter is one of, besides her mother, her mother has stolen from me, so I can speak on this. She stole prescription drugs from me after my knee surgeries. They're quite thieves. But anyways, my stepdaughter thought, well, now I have free range to go through everybody's freaking lockers, or through cabinets of the teachers, or through closets, and she did. And she stole all of the food at the school. So they have those little giveaway baskets for the needy, for the kids that don't have food at home. Well, she decided to adopt that persona. That she was living in a place that had no food at home, and she wanted to be put on this list. Instead of the food coming home to supposedly her family in need, as she had put it to them, to the counselor, she was taking it and she was putting it in her locker. But when she went down to pick it up, she found out where they stored it, and she would continually go down there and take bags every single day and put them in her locker. So one day she came home and she had on these really expensive shoes. She had on a sweatshirt that I did not get her. And she had this really expensive North Face coat that I know that I didn't buy her, because that coat is like $500 and I couldn't afford that. Now, she did have a really good coat. Now, I can't remember the name of it all of a sudden, but whatever. She had a really expensive coat as well, but it wasn't good enough, you see. So she comes home in this attire, and I'm like, where did you get those? From the school. Okay. Where at school? Who from school? Well, my counselor gave it to me. My counselor bought these items for me. Oh, your counselor went and bought you this really expensive stuff. And she's like, yeah. So I make her take it all off, and I take it and put it in a bag, and I go up to the school. And I'm like, I need to speak with her counselor. So I go in to speak to her counselor. And she proceeds to tell me that she bought this stuff for my stepdaughter because my stepdaughter informed her that she did not own a coat, gloves, and her shoes were too small for her and they were hurting her feet. And I was like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, she's in here every day, that she's, you know, so cold, and she comes in here with just a, you know, t-shirt on, and so I got her these things, and, you know, hoping I was helping her family out. And I said, where the hell is the coat that I send her out in? Where's the gloves and the hat that I send her out in? Where's the shoes that I send her out in? Where is this stuff, you know? She's like, I don't know. I said, I want the principal in here now. I want to speak to the principal now. The principal comes in there, and I said, I want you to take me to her locker. And so he takes me to the locker. We open it up. And inside her locker, guys, was 10 of those food bags stacked and upon, you know, and we're talking like boxes of macaroni, containers of peanut butter, pork and beans in a can, you know, like, not snacks. They're not snacks. They're like stuff that a family could feed their kids on the weekends. That's what they are. Well, she's got 10 bags of those. She's got one of those kid size lockers, you know, the tall lockers. And she has in there this bag that's probably about that big. And in there it has shirts and the North Face coat and some other things in there. So we pull it all out. In the bottom of her locker, she had a family of ants living, bugs living from all of this rotten food. She went through all of the food, stole can openers and silverware from somewhere, and had like cans of pork and beans with a spoon or a fork or whatever in them in her locker that had mold floating on the top of it. She had jars of peanut butter that you could actually see clear through the peanut butter. She had scraped it so deep. And so I'm like, here's her coat, here's her hat, here's her gloves. Oh my God. So she does have, I'm like, yeah. And I said, you are not to give her any more clothes and stuff. She is not a poor, unfortunate soul. She has things, very nice things, you know, name brand things. I don't understand why you feel that you should have, if you felt for any second that she was starved or going without, why did you not call CPS? Oh, because a lot of families, you know, have hardships and stuff. Kids, you know, they're only required to eat 2 meals a day, and they get the 2 meals a day here at school. So really, it's not abuse if they're not being fed. But, you know, we send things home, and I'm like, bullshit. If you feel there is an issue, then you need to tell somebody, because this could have all been solved. But no, instead, here I'm painted this monster who isn't feeding my kids and isn't taking care of my kids. I'm now labeled one of those parents, you know, and it pissed me off. It pissed me off because here I'm packing a lunch every day and sending it with them. You know, I get them proper clothes and stuff, and they were going to school and literally doing the poor pitiful me. I have nothing. We're so poor, we can't afford to eat, and they can't, you know, we can't afford coats and any, I mean, it just was utter freaking bull crap. You know, it's just like in that video you guys watched yesterday of my stepson saying he robbed money from me so he could pay his school fees, but those school fees sat there the whole year and were never paid. He was told not to take those expensive classes in school. His school counselor was also told that we couldn't afford it. You know, $150 for supplies here, $150 for supplies there. We couldn't afford it. At the time we had 5 kids and, you know, middle income, trying to survive ourselves. And this kid is stealing and stuff. Why are we going to spend all this extra money on this kid who is robbing everybody and taking the excess of money that we have away from us when we still have other kids that we have to allocate the money to? Like, we told them not to do it and they chose to go ahead and sign them up for that. So I told the school, then you can be responsible for paying it, since you did not listen to us and we did not sign the permission slips, because we got a permission slip and we said no. But somehow he managed to get into them anyways. But when he stole that money, he did not steal it to pay his fees. He stole it to put it into the vending machine so he could eat, because they were food obsessed from being starved when they were little. Now, in his little story, he states that at my house, he was eating out of the dumpster because there was no food. Well, why were you eating out of the dumpster at your mom's house then, clear before we ever got you? Does she not have food either? I mean, we just wonder at this point, what has ever been the truth of what happened at Biomom's house, or what happened, because they've lied so much about us. So is most of the stuff that they say about her lies too. It makes somebody wonder, you know, like, how much of the things they say are true. But with the little girl, she kept stealing. After we dealt with that situation, she started stealing from her friends, coming home in their clothes, and I would pack them back up and send them back out, or I would go up there and give them to the school and tell them that they were not hers and they needed to give them to who they belonged to. Brand new stuff. Especially after Christmas, it was bad. So the whole school situation didn't give us a break because they were constantly stealing and still causing shit and lies at school, and actually made things 1,000 times worse because then they took on everybody else's, the bad kids, persona. My stepdaughter joined some kind of group called the Suicide Pack, where they thought it was cool to cut themselves to see who could cut themselves the deepest without dying. I mean, just stupid stuff. So then I decided, the boy ended up going into the group home. Well, they came back here to my house where they got potentially worse. My stepdaughter started hitting me. Her and him were robbing money out of my purse to take to school to put into the vending machine. When they couldn't get access to my purse, they started stealing it from my youngest daughter's piggy bank. They had already robbed my other two kids' piggy bank so bad they didn't have anything left. So then they started stealing from my youngest, who had like $500 in her piggy bank from people giving her money or whatever over the years. And, you know, we would take it in after it got so heavy and exchange it in for cash. Well, they started stealing her money. And I decided, like, I'm done with this. Like, everything had to be locked up constantly. Everything had to be hidden. She was sneaking out in the middle of the night, and she was bullying my youngest twin so she was sneaking out. Let's start there. She was sneaking out. We found out she was stealing money and she was sneaking out. So then when I cut off the access of her getting my money out of my purse, she started unlocking my car when I didn't know it and was stealing money out of my car. Then when I cut that access off, because she's still this whole time every night sneaking out, and I didn't know she was sneaking out. I knew the money was missing. Didn't know she was sneaking out. So then when we find out she's sneaking out, we have a sliding glass door. So we took a board and put it into the track, and we would take special screws and we would screw it down at night and then take it back out during the day. Well, she ended up stealing the special screwdriver tip from somebody, and she was having my daughter take the screws out, let her out, put the board back in, the screws back in, just in case we came back there, so that she could go out. And she was buying, when we cleaned out the basement of the trash part of things, there was 2 black trash bags full of just the wrappers. There was a extra large cooler filled to the brim with stuff she had gotten from the convenience store. Her bribery was that if she gave some of the stuff to my disabled child, my disabled child would not tell on her. And that's pretty much how it went. It continued for quite some time. I explained to her that the man that lived, or that worked at the convenience store was I think it was a 2-time convicted child molester. I showed her the flyers and all of the stuff, so she knew. And she goes, he's offered me rides. I trust him. I don't really care if he does kidnap me. She then ran away. I hate the stupid camera. She ran away because she was mad because she broke the fence, and I was making her help fix the fence that she kicked in, a wooden fence. She didn't want to do it, so she decided she was going to run away. Didn't know where she was going, didn't know what she was doing. She was so out of control that day, and it's interesting because about a month before everything kind of went down, they had diagnosed her with bipolar disorder. which is something that they usually can't. When they're younger, they don't usually diagnose them with something like that. They wait till they're teenagers to do that. So they had kind of thought that all along, that she had that as well. They weren't entirely sure, so they were doing testing over amount of time. Found out that she was bipolar, had her on meds, and it's like when the bipolar started getting more under control, she started getting more out of control. More aggressive, more throwing things, more hurting the kids, more stealing, more lies, more bullshit. It just got bad. She was hitting me on a constant, hitting the kids, just feeling like, I mean, school made these two worse. So if you are a parent that has a child with a disorder that is like oppositional defiance or RAD, get them in homeschool. You can control behaviors a little bit more. Get them in public homeschool so they can still have friends and connections and things, and get them into sports and stuff for that. But as of the school part, you have a petri dish of all of these parents and their bad parenting down to their kids thrown into a school. And your kid that you already don't have control of, you are sticking into the cesspool of every bad trait from somebody else, that theirs might be so minute that it's not a big deal, but your RAD kid, your ODD kid, is absorbing that and becoming that. It's like they have to adapt to somebody else's personality to have a personality. You know, they just don't know how to act, so they try to fit in. Well, they're so awkward and so weird and so awkward with their social skills that they don't fit in with the good crowd. So they go towards where they will fit in. Well, where they're going to fit in is with the bad kids, and they're going to absorb all of their bad behaviors and bring it home. And you're going to constantly see things get worse, 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 until it's uncontrollable. I have everybody ask me what they should do. So, call the cops all the time. Get your paper trail. Get a psychiatrist, get a counselor. Ask for counseling to be twice a week if you possibly can, and go in with them. Do not drop your kids off with these people. They will go in there and they will work on their comic strip and what their friends did wrong and what, you know, everything that's wrong. They will not work on themselves unless you are sitting there saying, nope, let's focus back. Because counselor is just going to sit there and listen. They don't really redirect them very much back onto themselves. So it becomes a place where they can go and tattle on everybody for everything they did and never work on themselves. Go in with them. There is a book. It is purple. It is a RAD book. I'm trying to think what it's called, but I'm sure you can look it up. Books online, RAD. It's purple. I think it's got a teddy bear on the front of it. Get the book. Follow the book. That book is what ended up saving me. It's my saving grace. It tells you you have to parent different. You just do. Get yourself alarms on their door. Number one, first thing, alarms on the doors, cameras up. You can buy cheap cameras off of Amazon. You can get alarms and stuff from like Ace Hardware, places like that. Alarms, cameras. Get yourself a good mental health planner for you, and get a good journal mental health planner for your child. Do it. They need to be journaling. You need to be journaling. You are more so journaling for documentation. They need to journal their feelings and stuff so that you can take that book to the counselor, and the counselor can look at the book and help them sort these feelings out on that particular day. So if you have a week of journal entries, when they go see the counselor, they can work on those things. Those are the first and foremost things that you need to do. Protect yourself. Establish a time at night. Ours was 7 for an hour. Then it was bedtime, so it worked out perfect. To establish a time during the day that is timeout time, quiet time. Call it whatever you will. We called it a time in time. All of my kids would go to their rooms at 7 o'clock and they could read, they could draw, they could listen to music, but they had to be quiet and they had to stay in their room. It gives you a time to calm down and to refocus. It gives everybody a break from everybody. On the weekends, do 2 times. Do one mid-afternoon, do one in the evening. Everybody deserves a chance away from the chaos. That's something I developed later on, which I should have had all along, which I didn't. If you have other kids, make sure that you are spending an hour with each one of your other children that aren't having the entire blow up meltdown thing. Spend an hour with them a week. Schedule it in. Calendar time, same day, every single week. Your kids will thank you for it because you're so busy dealing with the chaos. You aren't spending the time that you need with your other kids. We did that from the very get-go. And we also did it with my stepkids. Each one of my kids had an hour with me and Dad doing things. When they were with Dad, they did things outside and in the garage. And when they were with me, we did cooking or puzzles or something in the house. Establish these guidelines right away. Structure is number 1. Kids get up at a certain time every day, even if it's the weekend. They do their chores at a certain time every day for an hour to make sure that if they have to be sent back to do it again, which most damaged kids have to be sent back to do their chores several times, that they have an hour to be sent back to get them done and get them done right, that there's no rush. When kids don't have a time limit on chores, then they feel like they can go in and rush really quick and get it done, and they just keep messing it up, and you're not building confidence in them. If you set an hour, even if they're done within the first 5 minutes, they still have an hour to be figuring out something to clean, to do. Give your kids each a section of the house to clean. Little Billy's gonna clean the living room. Little Sarah's gonna clean the kitchen. This one's going to clean the bathroom. Make your children have chores and put some responsibility on their shoulders, because then it kind of keeps them grounded. Sports is a good activity. If they're not doing sports, then you need to make it mandatory they do like an hour outside. The jumping and the bouncing resets things in their brain. Let them go outside for an hour and run and get their energy out and play and be kids for an hour. You always kind of got to remind our kids these days with all the social media bullshit that they need to be kids. You know, foremost, that's how they learn, guys. They need to be kids. My kids didn't have social media growing up, so I would suggest less social media for damaged kids. Sorry. They're not even supposed to have TV time, guys. If you look it up, damaged children, ODD, autism, reactive attachment disorder, all of those types of kids are not even supposed to have TV time. It's too overstimulating. They're not supposed to have downtime like that. That's stimulated that way. Look it up. It's not just me. Look it up. So I would personally take that away. Video gaming and TV, take it away and replace it with other things. But today I am going to wrap up a little bit sooner. I have a lot of orders and things that I need to do. I had a really bad day yesterday and day before, so I'm still on the mend from that. My muscles and my body hurt so bad, so bad. So when things like that happen, it really hurts my body, and I'm having a lot of movement and pain issues. I do see my counselor today, my PTSD counselor today. Very excited about that. But please tell me the things that you guys want to hear. We're going to get into some other things down the road, you know, tomorrow and the next day. You know, well, obviously I don't do it on Saturday and Sunday, but Monday I want to discuss some of the questions and things that are going on. I want to answer those because there's a lot of questions piling up. So please ask them below so I can answer them. As for the little girl, I'm still in protection mode with her a lot of the times. We're going to get into my story of when she poisoned me on Monday. I feel like the weekend is a good time for me to get back into a good mindset. I will have a counseling session. I will not hurt, hopefully, as bad, and I will be able to sit down and really discuss the poisoning session, the runaway session, that whole little era in great detail. But for now, guys, I gotta go. I have things to do with my sore little body. And so, as always, put more good into the world than you take out. Be kind to everybody all the time. You do not know what somebody is going through, okay? So choose kindness first. If you feel that you need to be an ass later on, you still have that option. But always start with kindness and be good to yourself. Have a good day, guys. Bye now.